Hello, Bernard. I'm Bernard Keevy. I've been talking recently about the ideal formula, if you like, or structure to a sales meeting or a sales process. So it follows this. So I'm just going to revisit the theme. So it's all based on the fact that the way our brains work, first of all, is the first thing we feel is fear, fight and flight. So you've got to overcome this before you can appeal to someone's emotions. So this is the reptilian brain. This is the mammalian brain. You're now appealing to the emotions, and then to get a decision, you're appealing to the neocortex, which is more logic as well as emotions. So really, you've got to get through these levels before you get someone to commit to buy. So the way you do it is by following this 4-step model, which says that trust and rapport is the most important bit, worth 40%. Then establishing the want and need is 30%. Then presenting your solution is 20%. And then the close, asking for the business, is 10%. And you need to follow it in a certain order really to be effective. So the way you get rid of the fear element and establish the trust and rapport down here, first of all you need icebreakers. So you need something that you say that basically doesn't trigger off in the prospect the salesperson alarm, as Big Al Tom Schreiter calls it. So anything that triggers off, that comes across as salesy or makes them think you're a salesperson, means that you've probably scared them off right here. So you need an icebreaker, and then you need to get them agreeing with you. You need to get them saying yes, 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 because as they're agreeing to you, you establish trust and rapport, and you eliminate the fear. And you can establish this rapport and trust, etc., by know, like, and trust. Get to know them better, but also things like being like them. So mirroring and matching. So that means that you would dress the same as them, you would use the same sort of language, you would use the same sort of pacing. If they were auditory, you would use auditory language. If they're visual, you'd use visual language. So there's a lot here, but all of this becomes really important in establishing trust and rapport. And the other ways you can get rid of fear is through having social proof, testimonials, qualifications, etc., and powerful guarantees. And then you establish the rapport by asking questions and listening to the answers. And that leads on to this bit here then, the establishing the want or need. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to dig deeper with your questioning and widen the gap between where they are now and where they'd like to get to. And the SPIN stands for finding out what the situation is, then probing it to find out whether there's a problem, and then probing the problem to find out what are the implications of this problem, quantifying the problem if you like. And then the N stands for needs payoff, which basically says, and how much would it be worth to solve that problem for you? Now that comes from a book called Spin Selling by Neil Rackham, and I would recommend that book. And by asking those sorts of questions, you unearth, or you begin to dig deep into what a colleague of mine, Mike McMahon, refers to as the pain funnel. And the idea of the pain funnel is that superficially what someone tells you is only the above the surface of an iceberg, but really all the information you need to get to the pain that they're actually feeling is below the tip of the iceberg, below the water level, and you'll only get there by asking these sort of probing questions. And when you know what they really want and you've got their pain unearthed, which is what will motivate them to buy, that's when you can present the benefits of your solution, because that taps into the emotions here. People buy emotionally based on the benefits, but then they have to come and justify the decision up here using logic, and therefore you need the features as well. So you need the benefits to sell or to get them to buy, but you also need the features for them to be able to justify their decision. And if you follow that sort of order through, you eventually get up here to just remembering to ask for the business, which most people never do. And if you ask for the business and you followed all this properly, then you may need to overcome objections, but basically the asking for the business should be relatively straightforward as long as you've done all this thoroughly. And that is what they call the new sales model, which is different to what was the old sales model, which was basically turn that on its head and try and put all your efforts into closing people against their will. So this is how it works, and if you follow this process, it does work. If you think that's useful and interesting, if you have a look at a quick video on coachforprofit.com/Bernard, it's only 8 minutes, and if you think there's anything in there that's of interest to you, maybe book a time and we could have a chat. So hope you found that useful. The sales model, this is how basically you can double your sales and more by just following this process. Thank you very much for watching.